Dadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Brinda Jaya Chaitanya Yananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sadi Gaur Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master, has opened our eyes with the torch of transcendental knowledge. We are very grateful to Srila Prabhupada that he has created this ISKCON society, this movement, centered around the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the essence of those teachings, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nastyeva, 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 Gatir Anyata. As Nikatma Prabhu was explaining, that this age of Kali is very inauspicious. But despite that, if we simply chant the holy name of God, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam, simply chant the holy name of God, then we can rise above the miseries, the sufferings. We'll be able to understand and deal with it intelligently. This movement, ISKCON movement, is actually the panacea, the cure-all. And the process is very simple. You chant Hare Krishna, you read Prabhupada's books, offer your food to Krishna, take prasad, and as Nikatma pointed out, share the love. You don't have to use the word preach, because it turns some people off. No, I want to share my love. So, as was mentioned, our sponsor and the next program is in honor of somebody I've known since at least 1988, Shriman Gopal Lala. I have done programs in all three of his houses. And I've done dozens and dozens of Namahat programs. So I feel obliged that I should speak in that connection. So I was there at the time of his passing away, and it reminded us, all of those who were there, it gave us some remembrance of the great Bhishma, Dev Bhishma Pita. Because when he gave up, Gopal gave up his life, the room was filled with devotees. And what were we doing? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we were there, and when I arrived at his house, I felt, oh, I'm in the heavenly planets. Such opulent, wonderful, like something you read out of the Bhagavatam, like Kailas or something. Simply amazing. So we started chanting from 6:30 and chanting Hare Krishna and some other prayers and mantras. And that went on for almost 6 hours. So we all felt, and especially at the moment when he gave up, we felt it was very, very auspicious. And I was thinking, gee, I don't think I'll be this fortunate when I pass away. So at this time, I also mentioned a verse from the Bhagavad Gita, which is very, very hopeful. Antakale mam chamam eva smaran muktva kalevaram yak prayati samat bhavam yati na asti atra sangshayaha. So in chapter 8 of the Gita, it's entitled Attaining the Supreme. Now the Supreme, the definition of the Supreme is given to us very early in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. The Supreme is one unit, but is appreciated in three aspects. The distinct understanding of the Supreme is called Brahman. It is the impersonal nature, the impersonal feature. But then there's Paramatma, one of my favorite topics. Paramatma. God lives in your heart. He's there. And as Naikatma so nicely explained, we have forgotten. So the business of devotees, and he mentioned this, remind others, yes, Krishna is in your heart. And you have a unique, individual relationship with Krishna. Yes, you do. It's always been there. It's not going away. But for now, we have forgotten, or we're not activating the access code. If you want to access, if you want to connect with Krishna in the heart, where is do you have one of these? Do you have a pair of beads? Because at any time, no restriction. That's another thing I like about Lord Chaitanya's philosophy. No hard and fast rule. Any time of the day, you're clean, you're not clean, doesn't matter. Just chant. Come on. Now that's good. That was a strong response. I think I've got you. Shall we go to the next level? All in favor say Hari Bol. Oh, okay. I've got approval ratings. So the third item is known as Bhagavan. Yes, God in the heart is a person. He's the supreme person. But there is another more intimate feature which has even more qualities. That's Bhagavan. The person who possesses all opulences unlimitedly. Unlimited. Yes, you may be very handsome or pretty, very nice. You may be rich. You may be learned. You may be famous. You may be very renounced. Good. But can you say you have all the opulences? I know I don't have beauty. I know that. So, if you want to be Bhagavan, by this definition, you have to have all the opulences unlimitedly. Nobody, if anybody tells you, and then you know they're cheating. No, as Prabhupada says, we have not seen anyone like Krishna in the history of human society. But Krishna appeared here in India just 5,000 years ago. And we have his words, his Vani. Prabhupada writes in his books, the spiritual master is Krishna's representative. According to Chaitanya Charitamrita, since we cannot actually visualize Krishna in our hearts right now, Krishna appears to us, the Krishna in the heart appears to us as the spiritual master. He is the external representative of Krishna in the heart. And with the spiritual master, there are two ways to deal with him or render service to him. One, when Prabhupada was here walking the earth, we could serve his body, execute anything required. But in the absence of the spiritual master, Prabhupada left us November 14th, 1977. For me, the saddest day of my life. Because we thought Prabhupada was like Bhishma. That's how we used to think. That he will leave his body when he wants. But Krishna had other plans. So Krishna called him. So in the absence of the physical presence, we still have the Vani, the words. We sing every morning. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Koriya Aikya Arna Koriho Maneash. That we simply want to pick up whatever the sound vibration of Srila Prabhupada is, and we want to meditate and think upon that. And that is always there. And yes, most of you are not direct disciples of Prabhupada. Most of you never actually saw him. But that's okay. Because we have his word, even in the Bible. In the beginning was the Word. Yes. So we have Prabhupada's word. It's there. There are recordings. You can get all the recordings. I have all of his lectures. I especially have his music, which I listen to every day. Every day I must hear the sound of Prabhupada's voice. So he's given us his books. And if you really want to understand this Srila Prabhupada, you have to, and he used this word, cram his purports. Those of you who have gone to school, you know what it means to cram for an exam. No TV, no, I'm just locking I remember my son-in-law, when he first got married, he was living with us. We had a 2-bedroom apartment in Torrance. So one apartment was for Mitravinda and Jagat Bandhu and Janardhan. And my wife and I, we had the other room. And he would spend hours every day studying and cramming for that law exam. Now, I think it took him 2 times, but he made it. But he knows what it means to cram. So since, I hate to say it, since the election, I have been taking shelter exclusively of Prabhupada's purports, especially Bhagavad Gita. I'm just studying the purports, and I'm coming up with a really interesting perspective. So I've gone through chapters 1, 2, now I'm in the middle of chapter 3, and something keeps being repeated over and over consistently. Prabhupada will make several points, but then all of a sudden he comes back. You need a spiritual master. And what is the essence of Bhagavad Gita? It is called Krishna consciousness. That's Prabhupada's own phrase, Krishna consciousness. It's based on a verse from the Goswamis, the Rupa Goswami. But it simply means the essence of the Gita is to render devotional service. And that is Krishna consciousness. This is a message so far in 2.5 chapters of the Gita that's being repeated and hammered by Prabhupada. Render devotional service. Be in Krishna consciousness. So there are 3 verses in chapter 8, which I consider to be like a gist summary. So, in the verse that I chanted, 8th chapter, verse 5, Krishna says, if you can think of me, if you can remember me at the time of quitting your body, you will come to me. Who wants to go to Krishna? Who wants to come back and take birth in America next life? Oh, good. This isn't. No, you'd be surprised. You're the advanced class. Very good. We want to go to Krishna. Now, the word used, mat bhavam, that's a significant word. Mat bhavam. It's not that you become Krishna. Some people think like that the goal is to become one with Krishna. No. Mat bhava means you achieve my nature. We all have a particular nature that we were born with. We're all individuals, and we all have our personality, our nature. Nothing wrong with that, as will be explained just at the end. I only have 15 minutes left because there's a lot going on. So I have to end at 1:15. So if you're hungry, don't worry, it's just another 15 minutes. So Krishna's nature, Sat, Chit, oh, you know. Good, see? I told you this is the advanced class. When the audience can answer as you're talking, you know you got a good one. Sat, Chit, Ananda. Krishna's nature, eternal. Siempre vive, live forever, but not in this body. Thank God. Thank God. I want a new one, but not a material. I want a sat body, eternal body. Chit, a body, a form, a life where I'm always conscious that Krishna is my Lord and Master. Chit, knowledge. The essence of knowledge, according to the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, is that you always are aware that I am the eternal servant of Krishna, loving servant. And then as a result of having an eternal body and being always in Krishna consciousness, Ananda, bliss. What is bliss? So, you all know what it is like to be happy. But the problem is what happens. 5 minutes you're happy, then a text comes, oh, no. Right? We come crashing down. And that's our life. Up, down, up. You wake up, oh man, I don't feel good today. Or sometimes you wake up, Joy, Haribol, let's go, let's rock and roll. We have these feelings, but it's when you have Ananda, at every step, your happiness is increasing. Step after step. That's what Lord Chaitanya's first instruction. Pratipadang Purna Amrita Aswadanam. That when you are Krishna conscious, every step you take, you are tasting this increasing pleasure. All you have to do is be Krishna conscious and execute devotional service. What you're doing right now, hearing. What am I doing? Chanting. And in 12 minutes, feasting, prasadanam. Shravanam kirtanam, prasadanam. That's my own concoction, so don't quote that in front of anybody. And then the word Sangshaya. Krishna is saying that if you can remember and think of me at the time of death, you will achieve my nature in my abode. Sangshaya. No. Na asti atra. No doubt. No doubt. Don't doubt. As he says at the end, Masuchaha, when Krishna tells Arjuna, surrender. For your own good, surrender. Mashucha. Don't worry. Don't worry. Be happy. Don't fear. Don't doubt. Yes. And don't hesitate. Ahora mismo. Do it now. Let's do it. Hare, come on. So after making this statement, that if you can think of Krishna at the time of death, then Krishna gives the logic behind it. There's actually a science. And what is that science? Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajiti ante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sadatad bhavachaha. Krishna says, yes, and if you don't think of me, if you have not practiced this, because you have to practice. Don't think, I heard that Prabhuji, that's okay. I'm going to go about doing my business, and at the time of death, I'll remember Krishna. And that's not smart. No. You have to practice. It's like if I want to come up here and give a fantastic lecture like I always do, I have to practice throughout the day. I have to cram the purports, yes. Otherwise, if I don't do that, I come up here. It's happened. It's happened. Krishna's done that to me, where it's like nothing comes out. So, here the science is, you're not thinking of me at the time of death, But whatever you are thinking of, that will determine where your next chapter of life will take place. And the classic example from the Vedas, Maharaj Bharat, he was the son of God. And he was this close to perfection. All right? That close. But by Krishna's arrangement and by his own foolishness, at the end of his life, he became attached to a deer. And at the time of death, he was thinking of the deer. Be careful. If you have doggies, be careful. At the time of death, he thought of the deer. So Krishna had to teach him a lesson. Take a birth as a deer. But he knew as a deer he had screwed up. He had that benediction from Krishna that he knew, yeah, I blew it. I should have achieved perfection, but I became attached to a deer. Now I have a body of a deer. One life. And then in his next life, he became Jada Bharat and achieved perfection. So, it's important. That's why Prabhupada is stressing Krishna consciousness, devotional service, practicing remembering Krishna. That's the significance of this. The significance is that we're practicing. We're like spiritual athletes, right? If you're an athlete, you have to do your, what is called repetitions. You have to practice. Then you can be LeBron James. But you have to spend hours. Hours every day. But we're more smarter than that. All we have to do is rock and roll the bead. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Here in Prabhupada's purport, he says right here, through this verse, if one is transcendentally absorbed in Krishna's service, then one's next body will be transcendental or spiritual, not material. Therefore, the chanting of, come on, don't get lazy, is the best process for successfully changing one's state of being at the end of one's life. And as I mentioned, so many devotees were there when Gopal breathed his last. And his daughter was noticing that when I was chanting, Govinda Jaya Jaya Go, his feet started to move. And she said several times, he's dancing. So he must have liked that. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya. Now comes a very important verse for me. I have a long-time student. His name is Krishna Kundan Kumar. He's been with me, has been my follower since 2001. And we did programs at his house for 12 years. Every month we did programs. We went through the whole Gita, verse by verse. And he became attached to this verse. And he said, this is the motto that I live by. So now, it's time for your examination. Sit properly. Let's see how well you can pronounce Sanskrit. Please repeat. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha mayarpita manobudhir mame vaishyasi asangshaya. Again, asangshaya, no doubt. So what is Krishna saying here? Because he's speaking to Arjuna on the battlefield. Arjuna is become hesitant to fight. He's dropped his bow. Day one of the battle. So Krishna is speaking Gita to enthuse, incite Arjuna to do his duty. So Arjuna's duty was yudhya, to fight, because he's a warrior. And it's day one of the world war. It was a world war. It would determine who would rule the earth. Kind of a big deal, you think. That's why Krishna used the word kuta. Where from, Arjuna, this nonsense, you not wanting to fight? Where's this coming from? So, Arjuna is to fight. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara. Arjuna, you have to do two things only. Just two things. Always think of me and fight. Both. So what is our fight? Yes, we are just like Arjuna. We also have our battle of Kurukshetra. It's called life. Dealing with the world, raising your family, going to work, going to school, just living in the USA is a fight. So many things you have to deal with. Basically, according to Krishna, manakshastan indriyani prakriti-stani karshati. Material existence means struggle. What is that struggle? The mind and the senses. That's what we're dealing with. Our own mind and senses. And for devotees, simple. Think of Krishna and do your duty at the same time. You're a mother? Yes. Take care of the children, but remember Krishna. You have to. Ladies, I know you work so hard. Take care of your husband, take care of your children, take care of the house, take care of the family, and you have to take care of your spiritual life. So yes, all of us have so many duties. Men, you know, bring home the money. Get that money, hook or by crook, because money, sweeter than honey. And this is America. Right? So we have to do our duties as husbands, as fathers, as devotees, or as children. Yes, the children also have duties. Children, what is your duty? Obey mom and dad. What? I don't like this guy. No, that's your duty according to Krishna. Obey mother and father. But at the same time, remember Krishna. That's it. That is Krishna consciousness. Do what you want to do and go where you're going to. Chant Krishna's name and he will be there with you. And that's all I got to say about that. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Take it away. Thank you very much. Class is dismissed. Take prasadam up to here. I will see you next month, and I will give a 2-hour class. No, I'm just kidding. All right, thank you. Haribol.